You can tell that somebody is a hating ass bitch when they literally want to control how you talk about yourself, how you feel about yourself, how you address yourself, all because they are uncomfortable at the confidence and security that you have within yourself. Let's give a story time. So when I was in college, I was in a sorority, and one of my line sisters, Kiara, was very, very jealous of me, very envious, and this girl would literally try to jump down my throat at any chance that she could get because the girl was just jealous, and my mere presence was bothering her. Me just unapologetically being myself bothered her. So because she felt so inadequate in my presence, she felt so inferior to me, and she thought that I was superior to her, she did everything that she could to try to like dim me down and dim my light. So we were having this conversation as a group, right? Like all of our line sisters were together, and I don't know what the conversation was about, but I remember saying something like, yeah, I'm bougie, so yeah, I won't lie, I'm bougie. I had said that, right? And then later in the conversation, Kiara goes, basically they say like, anybody else has anything else left to say? And then Kiara goes, yeah, one more thing. Terry, can you please not call yourself bougie? Like, please don't do that. And I'm sitting here confused, like, why do you care if I call myself bougie, bro? Like, what's the problem? So then what happens is I end up, I didn't always speak on situations in the moment that it happened. Another part about me being autistic, like I didn't process the situation, so I was uncomfortable, but I didn't know what to say in the moment because it flabbergasted me. It caught me off guard. So when we go back home and everything, and I'm sitting in my dorm, and I'm just sitting here thinking like, why the fuck would this bitch say this to me? So then I sent her a text, and I was just saying like, girl, for whatever reason you told me to not call myself bougie, don't do that, because I don't know what the issue is, but you don't get to tell me that I cannot call myself bougie for whatever reason. Don't try to do that in front of everybody. So then what Kiara does is she sends a screenshot of the message to our captain. And then our captain basically wrote out a whole entire message and said basically, okay, say this to Terry. Because I can tell that by the message of what was said to me from Kiara was not something that Kiara could have conjured up herself within her own brain. And the wording and the diction and just the tone and just everything that is said sounded so much like our captain's voice, not Kiara's voice, okay? So yeah, like I don't know if they're watching this right now, but yeah, I knew for a fact that was Captain saying that message, not Kiara. So I'm not stupid, but I knew this at the time too. I just didn't speak on it. Well, I should have spoke on it and told they asses off, but nah. Anyway, we saying it now. But anyway, so what happened is basically, the message was saying along the lines of, okay, this was the wrong way to say this. If you have something to say, then you need to say it in front of everybody and say it to me in person. And at the moment, instead of sending me a text later on after this whole thing is all over and done with, this was the wrong way to go about it. Knowing for a fact that the way that it was worded was not something that Kiara would have said. It wasn't Kiara's voice. That was our captain's voice. So then here comes, a couple of days later, we're having like our step practice and everything. And they told on themselves because basically, some drama had happened that day at step practice. And then basically, our captain, she basically goes, I'm pissed. I'm so irritated with all of them. So I'm done. And listen, when we leave here, don't send me no text. Don't nobody send me no text messages. Don't nobody send me nothing. Basically trying to subtly try to like subtweet me and try to be all subtle with it when I knew she was talking about me. But the thing is, mind you, the message was sent to Kiara, not to Captain. So that's how, when Captain was basically saying, oh no, like, don't send me no text messages when all this is over with. Don't send me no messages later on today and everything. If you have something to say, then say it now. Which pretty much proves the point that Kiara went to Captain and showed her the message because Kiara didn't know how to respond to it, so she needed some help or whatever. So then after step practice, we have like another meeting later on. We all got together later on. And then at that point, that's when Captain kind of basically trying to like, bait me into an argument or trying to like, get me to take the bait. So basically what Captain was saying is she was like, yeah, so if anybody got anything to say it now, because if you don't say it now, don't send no text messages later, say what you need to say. So if anybody got anything to say, go ahead. Whoever has to say something, go ahead and say it. Anybody got anything to say? Speaking vaguely. And then here comes Kiara, bitch, old ugly ass, sitting here looking at me, smiling and shit with this smirk on her face. So then I go, anyway, Kiara, My question is, what was the point of you at telling me that? I'm like, basically, Kira, I sent you the text messages because I didn't understand how to respond to you in the moment. But later on, I finally knew something and it bothered me. So yeah, I said something. You may not have agreed, but I did it whatever the fuck I wanted to do. But secondly, why do you care that I called myself bougie? What is the issue? Why are you mad that I called myself bougie? And then here comes Captain. She actually was like, I mean, yeah, Kiera, honestly, I don't necessarily always side with Terry, but I do got to side with her on this one. Like, why do you care that Terry calls herself bougie? And then here comes Kiera. This is my sorority, okay? Sigma Gamma Rho. So here comes Kiera. She goes, well, she had to make up some random shit. When jealous bitches get caught, they got to bring up something random just to be able to like make their story plausible and justify why they did what they did. So basically Kiera goes, well, I just think when people think bougie, I think of like AKA, and we're not AKAs, we're Sigmas, and we're down to earth, and Sigmas are not bougie. So I felt like you were just trying to be something that you're not, and that's why I'm just bothered. And I was just like, Kiera, that doesn't make any sense. Bougie does, like, people that are AKAs don't, like, it doesn't make any sense, bro. There are people that are from other sororities. There are people that are Deltas. There are people that are Zetas. There are people that are Sigma women that call themselves bougie. There are people that are not in sororities themselves that call themselves bougie. What is the problem? What is the point? What is the issue that you have with it? And then at that point, I'm like, what's the issue? Why are you mad that I call myself bougie, though? Why are you mad? Why are you so offended? Why are you so offended by what I call myself? And then Kiera was like, well, I don't know. I mean, if you want to call yourself bougie, then go ahead and call yourself bougie. If you want to call yourself, then fine. But I'm like, you're not bougie, though. I don't think that you're bougie. And I think that you're beautiful. And I think that you're confident. But you shouldn't have to call yourself bougie because I just feel like that's derogatory. I'm like, no, Kiera, it's not derogatory. Like, I feel like you're trying to respin the whole narrative of what bougie means just because because you probably don't see yourself as bougie. You probably don't think of yourself as having high standards or having high class or whatever the case is. So you're basically envious and jealous of the fact that I am confident and secure within myself. So now you're going to go ahead and try to like bring up some random shit. Yeah, like it doesn't make any sense. And then here comes Captain. She goes, honestly, Kiera, I'm really not understanding what your issue is. Like, you basically, when you texted me last night, you making it seem like she really was like going off on you. But honestly, like, I understand why. Because like, why are you mad at her for calling herself bougie? If she want to call herself bougie, that's her choice. She is her. You can't control how she refers to herself. You can't control how she talks about herself. That's not your issue. That's not your point. You're not her mother. You can't tell her what to do. You don't own her. So what is the issue? What is the problem? Why do you have such a problem with her calling herself bougie? I mean, it's honestly given like you kind of like jealous of some shit of her because she want to call herself bougie. Like, are you jealous of her? Captain called Kiera out. And at that point, Kiera was like, no, I'm not jealous. I just don't think that she should call herself bougie. And it's like, well, if she want to call herself bougie, let her. Let her. Like, that's what I'm not understanding. You're getting all bent out of shape and you're mad and you're telling her don't call herself that. But the reason behind why you don't want her to call herself that doesn't make any sense. Like, it's not lining up. The math is not mathing. Like, it's not making any sense. You're not bringing up a good, valid point. And honestly, Kiera, I feel like you just a little bit jealous, Terry. And I feel like you're just not admitting that. But you know what? Whatever. You do what you want to do, Kiera. Go ahead. Do what you want to do. Boom. So yeah, that was kind of the end of that. But in that moment, Captain did like she did have my back. She did like kind of was siding with me because honestly, think about it. Like, why are you going to tell somebody else not to call themselves what they want to call themselves? Like, if I want to say, yes, I am a bald head beauty. Don't call yourself a bald head beauty. I mean, baby, I am bald head. And I am a beauty. So what is the problem? Anybody that's trying to get you to dim your light and get you to not, reference yourself in a high standard or to have good confidence and have high self-esteem is threatened by you. They feel threatened by you. And by you being so confident and standing so firmly in how you feel about yourself, they're feeling threatened. So they basically have to minimize the threat. And let me tell you, another thing is that when jealous bitches get caught being jealous, they don't ever want to admit that they're jealous. They will just say whatever it is that they can pull out of their ass, pull anything out of the sun, basically try to justify why they said what they said because they don't have a real legitimate reason. They don't have a plausible cause to back up their claim. Because at the end of the day, they're just jealous, they're just envious, and they're going to just say whatever it is that they can to get you to stop shining your light, to get you to dim your light, to just get you to shrink yourself. Because people that are threatened by your light, they feel small in front of you. They feel small in your presence. So they want you to make yourself feel small. They want you to shrink yourself because they feel threatened. And don't you ever dare shrink yourself and dim your light just because of some jealous bitches, just because of some bitch that's like insecure within her own self, just because of a bitch that don't like herself, just because of a bitch that don't love herself, just because of a bitch that have low self-esteem. Let those bitches have low self-esteem. Let those bitches have a low confidence. You shine your light, because you shining your light is gonna piss them off even more. And if you shine it too bright, tell them bitches to get some motherfucking sunglasses, because you are not about to dim your light for them bitches. Heard that?